Evening, everybody. Andy Patterson's just jumped on. Ozzy Smith. Hey to Dave Lowback is with me, Steve Wellings, for a live
Woo!
post-fight pod. I was the only idiot who picked Chris Eubank Jr. last weekend on the Sunday pod, but I am happy to take my licks. I'm happy to take my L's because that was epic what we saw tonight. Didn't quite get the nice finishing touch, the cherry on top of Eubank getting knocked out, but he gassed. Oh, he can't gas, everybody says. He did, he gassed. He handed me a loss, and I'm very, very happy to take it. I was happy with what George Groves did all night. If anybody wants to come on the call, then I'm just warning you now, if you're pissed, if you're angry, you're going to come on and give us a load of foul-mouthed abuse and shout at us, then that's absolutely fine. We'll get you on first. Hit me up on Twitter via DM. We've got the boys on. Ozzy, what happened? George Groves popped his shoulder out in the 12th round, but he'd done more than enough by then. I don't know why Eubank Jr. was putting his arms up because he was second best throughout.
Oh, completely agree. And it's no surprise that Eubank's best round was the 12th, and that's because George Groves had one arm. It was a perfectly executed game plan. I spoke about it last week, how the corner work can prove vital, and I think it definitely helped tonight. Shane McGuigan, props to him. He's executed another perfect game plan. It's another tick on his resume. And George Groves' superior boxing skills paid off. It definitely isn't a surprise to me. I said last week that Eubank Jr. is excellent against static opponents, people who want to stand in front of him. George Groves did the complete opposite to that. His jab was on point. It dictated the range. Eubank was sluggish at times, very sloppy inside. Then Groves tied him up. It was a superb, superb performance, and one that I'm delighted to see. And it's just a shame that Groves' shoulder popped out because it will ultimately delay the final, because I think it looks dislocated completely out the socket. So it's going to be a good while until it can heal properly and he can get back in the ring.
Hey to Dave Lowback. Eubank said beforehand he was going to come forward. He didn't want for grit, for heart, for determination, but he looked amateurish. Not even amateurish, he looked novice-like in there at times, swinging wildly. He fell for every feint that George Groves threw. He kept on getting caught in the ropes because of his footwork. It was just a really piss-poor performance by Eubank tonight on a technical level.
Technical level, absolutely. But on level of heart and chin, I mean, he was the reason that the fight remained entertaining to watch right up until the end, because he kept trying his ass off, and so many fighters put the pain and the desire not to take damage, the desire not to go out on a knockout, they put that in front of trying to win. And Eubank didn't. He kept trying. Unfortunately, he decided that not to put that desire to win ahead of sparring and technical training. He decided to condition his body into like a supreme athlete and look cute throwing thousands of punches on the pads, but he didn't learn seemingly anything about setting up shots. I think he threw like less than 30 jabs. I don't think he landed. I didn't really see him land a single one. Maybe one lunging jab I think he caught him with, and I think he just landed because Groves was surprised that he actually tried it. He didn't work the body. Neither guy did, actually. I think Groves might have stopped him if he had worked the body, because he definitely shook him up a few times, especially in the later rounds, actually. And I had expected him to hurt Eubank earlier because I thought that's when Groves' power would be fresher. But it was Eubank was getting worn down too. There was his cardio and Groves' cardio was, I would say, roughly even as the fight progressed. And it's not because I think Eubank's not because Groves and Eubank are actually equal in terms of cardio, but just because Groves was bossing the fight, he was relaxed. Eubank was just wasting a lot of energy. He was whiffing. I mean, that's going to tire anybody out, and I think it did tire him out. I would have liked to see the fight go a few more rounds, actually, but so I wouldn't mind to see a rematch, even though it would probably go very similarly. It was a fun fight to watch, so thanks to both guys for that. But yeah, Eubank. I mean, how do you not listen to at least some of the public flack coming at you about your technical flaws? I mean, you can't just win every fight on swinging combinations.
Arrogance, Dave, felt they knew it all.
I guess so, yeah. I mean, and I'm already hearing it now. Duke McKenzie is shitting on Eubank's corner, which includes Eubank Sr., so I'm sure he'll be upset about that. Will they take any of this the heart, I don't know. Eubank said himself after the fight that he felt he did enough in the later rounds to get the win, and it's just part of boxing. Like this is some sort, like he's on the wrong end of a close decision here. Ridiculous. I mean, he got totally schooled, really, for the majority of the fight. The only thing that had him in that was an unreasonable level of drive. He was like a little kid, technically speaking.
Andy, you're stone cold sober. Tell me about the scores. There was a 115, 113 thrown in there. You know, you're looking at points here and there, and then all of a sudden, Eubank can verify his claims at the end that he won the fight. Quite ridiculous, I thought.
This time it's like a close fight. He was schooled. I had at 117, 111. Groves just different levels, man. He kept distance. He was deliberately keeping the distance off. He was looking to get a jab off. Obviously, the right hand. He was trying to counter off it. I did think times when he was up against the ropes, he had no problems whatsoever. He was slipping. He was coming under shots. He was countering, hold when he had to. He just did it the whole fight. Eubank just got. I thought Eubank was desperate after 3 rounds. He was really looking to kind of load up in shots. I'll agree with what Dave says. He hung in there. I forget what round it was. Maybe the 9th or the 10th. He took a right hand off Groves. I think it maybe just slightly clipped his chin a wee bit. He showed a decent beard. I'll give him that. Bad cut, but it was a similar tactics off Eubank all night. He came out early doors. Especially kind of midway point, he tried to kind of leap and left hooks or whatever, but he just couldn't sustain it. He couldn't shut the distance off. He was getting controlled at distance. Anytime he got inside, he was just basically trying to make any success whatsoever. So whenever he got in close, it was a short right hands or whatever. He was just awful. And we said that last week. What would he do if he needed to change it up? We asked the question. Ozzy asked the question before the fight started there. What was the point of having Chris Saniga there, Cutman? Obviously, he wasn't there for tactic advice or whatever. And that it's just been an absolute farce all around. You see it for wrapping his own hands. Surprised Eubank didn't want to work on the cut himself when it happened as well. Just an absolute fucking shambles all around for his camp. He's there on pure, ability on athletics. That's all it is. Ability-wise, he's not all that. He just looks to overwhelm you. You heard senior shouting for ringside there. Just go to war, throw shots, do whatever and stuff like that. There's no fucking plan. He is awful. He is shit, and he is just basically fuck off. You've absolutely frauded the public like your old man did at the time. During his reign as WBO champ stuff, he fought some awful shit. You've done the same. You've faked it this far. You just please fuck off. You got schooled. That is it. Good night.
Good night. Not good night from you, though, Andy. You stay on the call. Rob Barnett, I'm coming to you next. Going to send the invite just before we do. We've got Danny Young, a friend of the pod, is on the call now. Danny, tell me about the tactics. One thing that George Groves did really well, I thought, was nullify and neutralise Eubank's uppercut, which is his best shot. Whenever they got in close, he grabbed hold of him. He risked the fact that he was going to gas, although I thought Eubank obviously tired out as well when people said he couldn't. But anyway, that's just on a tangent. It was the uppercut he nullified by grabbing him, holding his head down in the arm locks. It was a good strategic plan from Groves and from his trainer, Shane McGuigan, Dana.
Just before I go to that, Steve, I just want to say one thing to Chris Eubank Jr., and that's, body form for you. Because them sanitary towels he's got on his hands can mop up that blood later on in the changing rooms. Fucking dickhead. But sorry, Steve. Tangent. Yeah, Groves' tactics were spot on. They were like you say, I mean, he boxed some distance, didn't let Eubank get anywhere near him. And when he did, tied him up. Obviously, I thought the only time Eubank ever kind of did any kind of work was obviously when Groves found himself with a back against the ropes. But then obviously Groves was smart to kind of almost turn him around, which to be honest, I was slightly surprised the referee, because the referee told him enough times about Groves tying him up. I'm slightly surprised there wasn't a point taken off. Not that I wanted it, but I wouldn't have been against it if it had happened. But ultimately, I mean, a credit to Shane McGuigan really for getting Groves into good shape, giving him a game plan, and then actually getting him to proper carry it out. to Shane McGuigan, really. For
Rob, you've got us on in the background. Turn me off. I don't want to hear myself twice. We just want to hear what you have to say. Turn me off in the background there, Rob, and I'll come to you whenever you're ready. Unmute yourself whenever you're ready to go. You ready for us, Rob? Rob's just unmuting himself. Andy. Oh, no, it's okay. Rob's here. Rob, can you hear me okay? The curse of the mute button. Right, Andy, we'll go to you. Tell me about the knockdowns. One was a knockdown, possibly two was a knockdown. Where did you stand?
The first one, the jab, definitely a knockdown. You know, the knee went down. I don't know if the referee missed it or whatever, but there was definitely a knockdown. I'm trying to remember, what was the second one again? Was it round... What round was that?
I can't remember. It was like the 8th or the 9th or something, Andy. Yeah.
First one, definitely a knockdown. Round 3.
Yep. That was when the knees dipped, wasn't it?
Aye, definitely. I'm trying to think. I wrote in some notes somewhere, but I fucking lost it as I went to the toilet there. I definitely a knockdown. The one off the jab, you know, as he came in, I think people thought as he was trying to kind of come in there, kind of like really dipped his knees and try to kind of come up underneath. But no, you can see it on the replay that he definitely took a jab on the way in. It was a fucking heavy shot, like.
Was a heavy shot. Rob, are you with us now? Unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
Right, you're still in the background there, Rob. Get rid of us in the background. Turn the YouTube off and just keep the Hangouts on.
Sorted?
Yep, that's better. Right, go ahead. What are you thinking? Are you gutted for old Eubank Jr.?
No, I was Groves. The whole way. To be honest, I thought it was easier than it was going to be. Eubank had no clue, did he? He had no clue. I struggled to give Eubank more than 2 rounds, to be honest, and two rounds at a push. I think Groves had him hurt on numerous occasions. Groves didn't really gas the efforts that Eubank put in. No, nothing really landed clean. Easy work.
He couldn't close the distance was the problem, I think, Rob. Every time he tried to get in, it was all lunging work. It was the fundamentals, the basics. They were just completely lacking.
Well, I think you're right, Steve. I think the fact at the end of the day, Groves had an amateur background. Groves fought Badu Jack, fought James Gale, fought Froch. Who did Eubank fight apart from Billy Joe? And Billy Joe was fat, and he still lost that fight.
Well, the thing is, he fought people who stood in front of him and didn't move and cupped their hands around their heads and didn't give the kind of lateral movement and the non-sitting target that Groves presented tonight. Yeah,
well, I didn't think it would be a close fight. I thought Groves would win. The only regret I got was not putting money on it for him to win. It wasn't a close fight. I didn't really think it was 50-50 beforehand. I mean, I was on the pod a couple of weeks ago and I said Groves, and to be honest, I probably gave Eubank too much credit back then. It wasn't close, was it? There's no reason why it should have been close, and today Groves proved that it wasn't close. Eubank, I don't really know what more to say, Steve, but it was easy work, really, wasn't it? To be fair.
Well, have you got anything else to say, Rob? Because if not, we'll move on. This is an auditory medium. Anything on the undercard you want to speak about?
Didn't really watch it, Steve, to be honest. Just bought it for the main event, casual, you know.
17 quid. Come on, Rob.
Give me your take on this response from Billy Joe Saunders.
I paid £3.50 for that shit.
Billy Joe. What's the response from Billy Joe?
At Chris Eubank Jr. You should have done them 10 punches per second in that fight. Pair of wankers, you two.
Gotta love Billy Joe.
Rob, before you go, Rob Barnett, give me a rating out of 10 for Hater Dave's British fighter impressions.
4.
Right, Rob. Cheers for coming on. We'll catch you again next week, okay?
Cheers, mate. Thanks.
Right, we got rid of one Rob. We got another Rob on the call. This is the only Rob that matters to me. It's big rapping Rob Kelly. Come on, Rob. What happened tonight?
Come on, Rob.
You're the Guinness.
You're the Guinness.
I haven't seen the fight, by the way, but I am steaming in the back arse of nowhere, and I'm delighted that fucking Groves won, like, by the way. Fuck Eubank Senior.
You didn't even watch it, Rob.
No, man, I couldn't. There was no TV in this pub, but I was following the expert commentary in the group chat, by the way. And look, listen, it just goes to show that we're always fucking right.
Except for me.
Except for you, Wellings. Yeah. But look, you make outlandish predictions every week. You know what I mean?
I'm a walking L factory. Rob, stay on the line if you want. We've got Dominic coming on now. Dominic, you were texting me back and forward. You had Groves 4-0 up after 4. It was pretty much one-sided, despite what one of the scorecards said, wasn't it, Dom?
Can you hear me all right, Steve? Can you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I was just happy for Groves, but yeah, I was just listening there to what Nas was saying after the fight there, and he was basically just saying that you know, the bottom line was that Eubank, he's not good enough, and he probably never will be good enough, and you know, the fundamentals, you know, footwork and you know, gauging distance, he just doesn't have those things, and I thought it was at times there towards the end of the fight. It was like I thought it was man against boy at times, and I think the big factor was just that you could tell the size difference was so noticeable in there. You know, like every time Groves on the inside when you're in those clinches really sop the. If you're the smaller guy, you know, it's like what Emmanuel Stewart always said to Lennox Lewis: put your weight on him and you know sop the energy out of him. And if you're the smaller man in a fight like that, and there's a lot of clinching, it really has an effect, and that's where Frotch had success because he had the physical size and bulk to not allow Groves to, you know, to sop the energy out of him in those sort of exchanges. Where
there was a touch of Vladimir at times tonight. I thought about what Groves was doing.
Yeah, that's a very good analogy, actually, given you know the way Groves sort of the way he fights with a jab as well. And I thought Groves, I had him winning. I couldn't give Eubank more than 2 rounds. I mean, I thought the scorecards were, you know, Hard Foster, he was the closest, but even 117, 112, which he had it, even that was probably a bit too close. I mean, I thought Eubank he didn't land anything really. There was a few lead left hooks, but I mean, I was just thinking before I came on there, Steve, about the discussion the guys were having last week on last week's pod about Roy Jones, or maybe it was the week before, about, you know, favourite Roy Jones moments and how, you know, Roy always referred to himself as like a stallion, and Eubank and his old man, they like to think of himself, Junior, as some sort of stallion, how he's untrainable and uncoachable, and you know the way he throws these lead left hooks, like trying to be like Roy Jones Jr. You know, a real stallion is like what Roy Jones was, but this guy, he's a pretender. You know, those times in there I actually felt sorry for him towards the end of the fight. He was so inadequate and so out of his depth in there. You know, I just thought. I mean, like the corner, even the way that the corner was, like the way they were trying to handle that cut. I mean, the cut as well. I hope they don't turn around and start saying no if the cut hadn't happened, because the reason the cut happened was because he was diving in there trying to get close, and he couldn't get close because he was rubbing his head trying to get in close and get into the position where he needed it, and Groves wouldn't allow it.
I believe they will, Dominic. I believe that the scapegoat is Chris Sanagar. Oh, he didn't deal with the cut well enough. Just easy, you know, to get rid of him and cut him off the end. That's what I think will happen.
But here's what happened as well, Steve. Every time Eubank was getting this wee white towel and dabbing it, and we're trying to tell him not to do it, but because he's never been taught respect to sort of listen to, you know, the people around him who are supposed to know what they're doing, he kept doing what you're not supposed to do with this bloody white towel and trying to dab the cut, which you're not supposed to do. But it was in fairness, it was a difficult cut to deal with. But I think the cut, Steve, really get to the chase of it, I don't think the cut, even if it hadn't happened, I don't think it had a huge difference. I think Groves would probably still have won the fight pretty comfortably. I mean, the scorecards were too, for me, like, 115, 113 is just, that's shocked. That's really poor. Like, I mean, who was that? Was that Marcus McDonald? That was Marcus McDonald, 115, 113. That's a joke.
Way too close. Way too close.
That's shocking. Like, that's just, how can you give a fight like that 115? I mean, Groves was so patently superior. It's just, that's the sort of thing that really annoys me. And like I'm happy I think actually now if Groves is out with this, that was given the nature of the exchanges on the inside were quite grueling. I think a break might actually do Groves a bit of good. I've just seen before I came on there, Callum Smith trending on Twitter. I hope it's not all these matchroom heads claiming that. I'm sure it is. I'm sure they're claiming that Callum Smith would deal with George Groves. I think Smith would actually potentially get knocked out because he's so stiff and he doesn't move his head. Eubank, I think he needs to go. He's not a super middleweight, and of course the only reason I think he moved up to super middleweight because he wouldn't beat Canelo and he wouldn't beat Golovkin, and he's not going to beat Billy Joe Saunders, I don't think. No. So it's karma, I think. And I think they're paying the price for not getting, like, he should have stayed with Adam Booth and listened to Adam Booth, because Adam Booth, for my money, is the best coach in the game, not just in Britain but worldwide. I think Adam Booth is the best, and he should have stayed with him. But they tried to go along with this act that no, Eubank Jr. is this stallion who no one can try and control him. He's uncontrollable, and that's why he's going to be the best. And there was this. I just saw an interview when I switched off from ITV there with the old man outside the dressing room, and that I think reality is slowly starting to dawn on them.
What did he say? What did he say?
Well, he was basically just saying that he tried to. He said, "Eubank, my son fought with power when I tried." He said he basically actually admitted that he needs to learn the skills, and he backtracked and he said, "Well, I know he does have the skills, but he doesn't use them. But he doesn't have the skills. He doesn't have the amateur pedigree, the amateur schooling, and he's." The big problem that Eubank Jr. has watching that fight, and I thought this beforehand, was that he struggles if you don't come forward. If you don't come forward, he likes you to come on to him. He's not good closing the distance, cutting the ring off. And Groves did very well. He took the centre of the ring, or just a step back from centre of the ring, and he forced Eubank to come forward and fall short. Whereas Eubank, he needs to sort of disguise his own technical deficit. He needs people to yield him, to come right to him, and so he can just tee off the uppercuts. But Groves, I thought, was, it was reminding me a bit of like Andre Ward almost on the inside, the way he just sort of, he really was brutal the way he tied Eubank up. He did it very, very proficiently.
I thought he was excellent on the inside. Let me just bring Danny Young in here, actually. No, it's okay. You stay on the line for as long as you want, Dominic. Danny, you were saying about the scorecards there in the chat to me. I didn't actually score it myself, but I think maybe a 117, 111 was about right. You have issue, obviously, with the close score.
Yeah, I'm not having any of it, to be honest with you. I think it's ridiculous. I mean, yeah, obviously we got the right result, which is great, but I had it 118, 110, so I had it 10-2. I don't know about everyone else. I don't know if we can go round and listen to everyone else's scorecard.
117, 111 for me.
117, 111 for you, Rob. Any scorecards from you, considering you didn't see it?
No, I'm fucking steaming, by the way. I'm in Enniscorthy town, which is a hub for fights itself. I'm sure we're going to get better 168 clashes out here tonight. But I just want to quickly comment before I jump off. It just goes to show that the knowledge on the pod. Thank you to the Patreon subscribe link. And another thing, I'm delighted for Eubank Senior after his comments about Blackwell. That was a cheap shot, you know what I mean? An absolute cheap shot at the highest degree. Groves schooled him, according to the panel. I haven't seen the fight. I'm going to have to watch it back tomorrow.
Watch it tomorrow and come on tomorrow night, Rob. We'll speak to you then, okay?
Yeah. No. But what I say about this is that, look, Eubank only went to 168 because he had a cheap title shot, and a title shot that's not even a title. He moved to 168. He got a knockout win against a guy that is an unknown entity with Yildirim. And me, even personally, when we were talking about the fight, I thought, on form at the time after Eubank knocked out Yildirim, that he may have a shot with Groves Tyron. But I'm glad that Groves got the job done because of Eubank Senior's comments. I'm going to let you go. Have an enjoyable night. I'm sure I'm going to see some 168 clashes, some catchweight clashes in Enniscorthy later on. But I see you all tomorrow. And I'm very, very happy that Groves got the win. And look at,
cheers for jumping
on,
Rob.
We always root for the best guy to win. The best guy to win the fight. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I picked Groves before the tournament, so hopefully he goes on and wins the 168 title, the 168 Super Series at the moment. But by the way, whoever's in this Super 6 series at the moment wouldn't hold the torch to fucking Andre Ward or Carl Froch, by the way. But anyway, hope you have a great night. I'm off to get more steaming than I am even at the moment. And I thought I'd
stay safe, Rob. Stay safe.
Nostalgia moment, you know what I mean?
Stay safe. We'll speak to you tomorrow night. Rob Kelly there in an inebriated state. Who would have thought it? No one's had a go at Donny yet. Where the hell is Donny, actually? Let's bring in Adam Smitho-Smith. Just before we do so, if anybody wants to come on the pod, hit me up on Twitter and I shall send you the link. We're not really going all night. We go for about an hour, usually in these post-fight pods. Smitho, before I get your score, Dominic made a good point about Eubank Jr. coming in like Roy Jones Jr. Sometimes they see these fighters and they try to replicate what these natural athletes can do. Eubank Jr. was a bit like a fighter of yesteryear called Anthony Small, who called himself Sugar Ray Clay Jones Jr. He thought he could do these things, Smitho, but he hadn't got the technical ability to follow these fighters. And I don't think Eubank Jr. looked even as technically proficient as Mr. Small did tonight, to be honest with you. Give me your score and let rip, Smid.
I gave it 4 rounds to Eubank, so that equates to a 116, 112. But I think I could have given it one wider because the 10th was reasonably close. And on reflection, maybe I won't give it to Eubank when I watch the replay. But yeah, 8 rounds to 4, but it probably should have been 9 rounds to 3. I thought Eubank was made to look absolutely shit at numerous occasions throughout the fight. But things we already knew was that Eubank was too small and the corner was a mess. It's actually become more apparent that the corner was a mess, not just on the night, but obviously in camp and generally at all times, because there was just there just seemed to be no game plan from Eubank. He was standing in rage. He didn't throw a jab all night. He didn't work anything off the jab. He didn't set anything up. They're standing, both at mid-range across from each other. Groves is there, looking for angles, moving his head, moving his arms, keeping light on his feet, looking to work something. Eubank's just waiting for something to happen and then trying to react and bundle him into the ropes. Or I just thought Eubank was shit. He's been shown up. I thought, given that the expectation created by his team and a bit of ITV and a bit of hype before the fight, the delivery has been nothing short of embarrassing, to be honest. And after the fight, Eubank Jr. Directly after the fight seemed to shrug his shoulders a little bit, and he didn't look that bothered, to be honest, at that point. I think there was some disgusting use of the headbutt from Eubank, particularly at the end of the 8th round. A full-on headbutt on Groves. You could argue that Eubank's rash use of his head caused himself to get cut. I thought there was a knockdown in round 8 when Groves threw what looked like a check hook and slipped one way through a left hook, and Eubank went to the floor. I thought that should have been given as a knockdown. Groves was clearly worked on a game planning in camp, and Eubank hasn't. You can put some good Instagram posts out there, and you can throw 90 punches in 10 seconds or whatever it is, and you can look good, and you can be athletic, and you can wear gloves on the scales. You can look athletic, but he's not delivered in the ring. He's not delivered anything way near that's a boxing fundamentals. He's not got any of them. He's just winging in. I've said for years on this pod that his power is he's not as powerful as he thinks he is. I've said that for a very long time.
He's an accumulative hitter, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a cumulative hitter against people who stand in front of him. And George Groves did not and was never going to stand in front of him.
With padded hands as well.
Yeah, absolutely. George Groves was never going to stand in front of him. George Groves is cleverer than that. What we was worried about with Groves was his gas tank running out. Well, as it actually appeared at the end of the fight, the last couple of rounds, Eubank was the man that looked more gassed than anyone. I thought in the last round, Groves was playing a little bit dangerous, well, more than a little bit, to be honest. He made Eubank miss wildly in the first maybe 30, 40 seconds of the round. Got a big reaction from the crowd that I was in full support of. But then I think Groves spent the rest of the round looking to make him miss again, and took a few risks that he didn't need to. In that last round, Groves actually landed more uppercuts than Eubank did. But it took ITV commentary until the 10th round, I think, for Richie Woodall to say that Eubank's got no game plan. So that just summed it up for me.
Ozzy, give me your score. Sneak your score in at some point as Danny Young's question pertains. But tell me this, Eubank, beforehand, he could sort of play off the Billy Joe Saunders loss. He came on strong. It was inexperience. He would learn. He would come back stronger. But his 2 biggest wins now, He's failed to deliver for large parts of both of those fights. The Eubank name carries currency for only for so long. You have to back it up in the ring, and he's beaten C, possibly B level operators now. Where does Eubank Jr. go from here? Can they still keep trading on this name? He's just not backed it up. He cannot get these paydays and the ceremony and everything he's had now off the back of this performance.
He needs to go back down to middleweight for a start. He was never a super middleweight. I don't care what Ronnie Davis said. He was never a super middleweight. It showed in the fight. It showed at the weigh-in. He needs to drop back down there, and he needs to get somebody who he'll listen to. But from what Dom said before, he had Adam Booth, the best in the business, and they fucked him off, or he fucked them off because they said, "Oh, basically he's uncoachable. He doesn't listen, and they're in a world of their own." So in reality, he has to change things. Otherwise, against anybody that can move the feet, they will cause him problems. Anyone who wants to stand in front of him, he can overwhelm them. But like I said, anybody who moves will cause him problems. He can't even consider staying at super middle. He just called out Caleb Truax, for God's sake, after the fight. Who the fuck does he think he is?
Was he called for a rematch before he called out for Truax? A rematch in a tournament.
This is what I don't...
It's true story, mate. It's true story.
Can't see the tweet Truax, have they?
He's actually got more front than Brighton. It's all saying, isn't it?
Truax actually just responded, dominated by the WBA champ, only to call
Get in
out
line.
IBF champ, get in line.
I don't understand. Who the fuck does he think he is? And he'll try and pass it off. And the problem is the scorecards. If you just look at it, for example, on, say, BoxRec, you may look at it and think, that was a close fight, that, if you're just looking at the numbers. When in reality, it wasn't anything of a sort. I had it 119, 109. Maybe could have given Eubank another round, that's it. I gave Eubank the 12th. That's because George Groves had one arm. Had he had his left arm working, he would have been absolutely fine. And it would have been a whitewash for me. He pissed it. He showed his superior ability throughout the fight. And I want to say a masterclass at times, but I don't really rate Eubank as a boxer. But what he did do, he humiliated him at times, I think. And Eubank got frustrated. And I think for his dad to even say after it and almost come unstuck, saying he needs to learn the skills, says it all to me. But then his dad needs to have something himself and say, either bring somebody in of some quality or send him somewhere, because if he's not willing to change anything, he will never beat a world champion, particularly not a middleweight. Billy Joe Saunders would take the piss out of him. Piss out of him. It would be so one-sided. He could beat him with one arm, probably.
Embarrassment.
Footwork could just it would be an embarrassment. So Eubank has got to change. I don't give a fuck if he says it's a close fight, because it wasn't. It's utter bullshit. Marcus McDonald's card, I want to know how he's got it. What was it, a round in it?
That's what I said. You only need the one more round to swing.
Yeah.
How
did the other one find that even round in there? That's just fucking cop out. That's just pish.
Yeah.
It's AIDS.
You've got the scorecards. Then you've got the cut, and you've got the weight. Smido, there's 3 built-in excuses possibly.
Yeah, I just...
There was 2 knockdowns as well.
Yes.
They were clear knockdowns. Yeah. It doesn't matter. People said, "Oh, the first one was a slip." No, he went down by a jab. Carl Frampton was ruled as knockdown against Horacio Garcia for something similar. But the shot knocked him to the floor. Therefore, it should be called.
What was the second one? What was the second one again?
I think it was in the 8th, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the 8th where we hit him with that. Like,
McGuigan went ballistic.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Paulie ITV didn't show it on the replay. I was a bit disappointed.
Yeah, that was strange, wasn't it? There.
Yeah, but from first viewing, to me, it looked a clear knockdown. I thought basically from the off, I thought Groves hurt Eubank quite regularly, and although he wasn't, like say staggered or out on his feet, I thought at times you could see that Eubank could certainly feel the power.
Definitely.
And which again means that he should certainly drop back down and try and bully people and use his physicality at the lower weight where he can potentially have some more success.
Sam Langford saying in the chat that Groves should have had 2 points taken off him. Is that because the referee was always on Groves' case for either holding or hitting behind heads and stuff? That's no, but the thing is, man, Eubank was doing the same when he was in close. He was holding, he was trying to kind of like rabbit punching, and he was like kidney shots and all that sort of stuff. So fucking, it was fair play all around, man.
Holding in the knockdowns,
themselves
out, yeah.
Exactly.
I remember I always remember that the commentary in the Kilzaggy-Lacey fight after the third round, Lacey started complaining, and Duke McKenzie was commentating on the fight, and he said, it's the law of the jungle in there, and until the referee intervenes, you just do what you have to do. I mean, Andre Ward is renowned, as everyone says, a great fighter. One of the things he did better than any fighter in the last few generations of fighters was the way he tied people up, the way he tied Frotch up, for example, in their fight. Groves was just doing, it was what Spencer Fearon says, ring generalship, whatever you want to call it. It was quality the way he just tied him up and smothered him.
Fuck Spencer X.
Yeah.
Spencer X.
I'm sure he's eating humble pie too.
Here, hey to Dave.
And the white Spencer X.
Oh, well, that's true. Hey to Dave, who's the best super middleweight in the world at the moment, in your opinion?
Well, Andre Ward, obviously.
No, it's not. It's Josh Groves. Fuck off. Fuck off. Ward is a light heavyweight retired, coming back as a PED filled out cruiserweight. Fuck
Dave,
you.
you're gonna get so much stick for that tomorrow, Dave. Oh god.
Well, he could easily still make the weight, and he'd still pull them all.
Yeah. Roy Jones Bioretic. Fuck you. Hey, Dave. Dave, listen. I know you come in the pod with a gun sometimes. Go and get the revolver and put it to your chin right now.
Are you just doing this because Donnie's not here?
Yeah, well, I need to pick on her, for fuck's sake.
Well, no, I mean,
Andy,
Groves,
that's rough, man. Put yourself on camera first. Dave.
Groves has seen better days. Groves, I would say he was defensively lax a little bit tonight. He got hit by shots that he shouldn't have been hit by. And I think he should have followed up a lot of those good hard counters he landed. I think he could have gotten the stoppage because he stopped Eubank in his tracks numerous times and had him just standing there like looking confused with his hands down. Like, unload on him. They just finish. I mean, I can understand it. He was staying disciplined. He didn't want to just gas out, and because Eubank is a hell of a well-conditioned athlete. He didn't want to gas out going for a stoppage that wasn't guaranteed, but I think for sure he could have gotten it a couple times in there tonight. Also should have worked the body. Groves did tire again a bit. He's appears to be injury prone, but like somebody said, he's been quite active in the past year, 2 years. So credit to him for that. And maybe he does need some time off, as I think Ozzy said. But I'm not convinced he beats Callum Smith. Callum Smith's a totally different fight.
You put that gun to your chin right now.
Callum Smith's a totally different fight. Obviously, he's not going to be.
Right. Groves will school him.
He's going to land a lot on him, I think, early on. But I thought Callum Smith looked pretty good as a counterpuncher, to be fair. And he might catch Groves late. Groves is very vulnerable late. And I still don't like the look of him late in there. He's a good survivor, to be fair. I mean, considering his gas tank, and he's only been stopped.
That's Betty of the week, Dave, not Callum Smith.
Yeah, I agree with that one. Dave, listen, mate, go and get a Teflon coated bullets, mate, please. Then they put a bulletproof vest on. That is awful. Callum Smith has just done a chance with Groves, man. I'm telling you.
I don't know. I think he stands a chance. I didn't pick him. I didn't pick him outright to win.
You didn't watch Callum Smith, for fuck's sake.
Huh?
You watched UFC. You didn't watch Callum Smith.
I've seen him like twice. I don't think he's that good, but I don't think Groves is that good either. I mean, I think Groves is probably the best super middleweight, thanks to the fact that it's pretty much vacated right now.
How does Groves get on against Gilberto Ramirez? Is constant pressure as basic as he is?
Yeah, I don't know. I think actually that's a good point. Ramirez doesn't have the wins to put him in line for being called the best, but he's stylistically troublesome. He's got good cardio. He's in shape. He's got more skills than Eubank. I think he's bigger than Eubank as well. He's
acid to the eyes, isn't he, Ramirez? I can't watch him.
He's not good to watch, no. But I mean, yeah, it's kind of a messy division right now. Badu Jack Badu Jack would have been the king, but he's moved up obviously, so it's unfortunate.
Right. Thanks, Dave. Some of our the Facebook followers have left us messages. Daryl Jelly has said, well, the only 2 times Eubank has stepped up to anything which could be labelled a 50-50, he has lost levels. I know Daryl's getting stuck in here. I'm not sure when he's left this comment. Danny Young even, Smido before he left put a question in that I was actually thinking to myself straight after the fight. What the hell would Triple G have done to Eubank Jr. and Senior knew what was coming? That's why he pulled him out of the fight. Danny, what do you reckon about that?
It would have been murder. Honestly, I can't Well, I'd pay to watch it. Put it that way. If it was 15 quid to watch that, I'd pay it all day long because it'd just be death in about round 5. But yeah, I mean that would have been. Well, I'm glad it hasn't happened. But I mean,
yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, mate, what I was going to say to you. No, I was just going to say, you left a message in the chat, and I agree with you. You said Eubank Junior has got to drop down the levels now. They patently say, oh, he's too good for British level. We have to pull him out of fights because he's going to kill Tommy Langford. He's going to murder this guy. You know, they're always on the line, aren't they, with their comments? He's going to do this damage, so he's going to leave this guy with this type of damage. But he's not good enough for world level. So is Chris Eubank Jr. right of this minute a European level fighter?
Well, look, I listen to this podcast because 9 times out of 10, you guys give solid sound advice. And when you know that a fighter's not good enough, you say, why are they trying to jump to world level? They should do the way that every fighter should do it British or Commonwealth, and then do European, and then move up in levels. He's not even done that. Senior's got this fucking mad idea in his head that Junior's some world level fighter, even though he's fought fucking next to no one. I mean, beating a shot to shit Arthur Abrahams and a yielder him who no one knew until this fucking tournament was announced. It's a joke. If he wants to seriously be considered a proper fighter, then he needs to go through the phases of being the British champion and the European champion and so on and so forth. I mean, we hear it all too often. Andy agrees. Ozzy says the same thing. Everyone on this podcast says the same thing. So I don't see why the Eubanks have got it in their heads that he should jump up for some unknown reason. I mean, we've seen tonight that fundamentals win fights. Groves has got one of the best jabs I've seen in modern boxing. Personally, I don't know about everyone else, and he kept Eubank at range with a perfect jab. And everyone that's done an ounce of boxing in their life is always told a decent jab will win you a fight. And it showed tonight.
Because, Danny, they see the Roy Jones Juniors, they see fighters of that ilk, and they think you can get to that level by shortcutting through the fundamentals.
No, it doesn't pay off. It honestly doesn't pay off. I mean, I'm trying to think of a good example. I can't think. I've had too many beers tonight, so it ain't going to happen. But, I mean, look, all of you will agree with me that you can't just jump up and expect to be... I mean... Like, even after defeat, calling Truax out, it's embarrassing. It's an absolute embarrassment. Like you said, like Ozzy said, he should move down in weight and then work his way up in levels. You can't just shoot. I mean, look at the middleweights that have got belts. He can't go jump straight up and start contending with them. Even if, say, next week he goes, right, I'm going to consider to move down in weight. I'm going from super middleweight down to middleweight. He's not going to contend with the likes of Golovkin and Billy Joe and them people. So he's got to start from somewhere, and he needs to start from the bottom and work his way up to get any credibility.
Well said, Danny. Public service announcement. Where are you, Kurt? Kurt's supposed to be coming on tonight. I've invited him. There's 400. We've hit the 400 mark. I don't think I've ever seen that number in all my time at the pod. Yeah, we're all 403 there, Andy. The people are listening. If someone's in the chat or on Twitter, getting towards the final call now. If you want to come on, talk about the main event, talk about the undercard, we've pretty much forgotten about that. Most of the discussion of this fight will be happening tonight because we've got a couple of guests coming on tomorrow night. We've got loads to review over the American stuff. We've got stuff to preview, including the Superfly. So the majority of the discussion will get done tonight. So if you want to have your say, you want your questions read out, you better get in pretty quickly. Ozzy, you unmuted yourself there. What did you want to say?
Well, I was going to say he drops down to middleweight. Do you think Tommy Langford could honestly cause him problems? Because he's a decent boxer. I just don't know if he maybe have the power to potentially keep him off.
Yeah.
But
yes, he can.
In terms of footwork and things like that, it could be hell for him at times.
That's a good point. The jab would if he could implement the same sort of jab. The trouble is, though, with Langford, could he, like you said, have the power to keep Eubank off? Would he be able to keep his shape, keep his shell, and not fold under the pressure? Because we saw what happened, Ozzy, when Kurt Sidsley got behind the guard and started throwing a lot of heavy hooks. And if Eubank Jr. did that, Langford would probably fold as well, wouldn't he?
Yeah. No, I'm not saying Langford will beat him, but I definitely think he could potentially cause him problems because of his...
It'd be a close fight, wouldn't it, Ozzy?
Yeah, but I do think Eubank has ability. and his pressure may get to, like Kurt Zidze, he did get to him, and I thought Langford at times did show some decent work against Kurt Zidze. But then it's like, where do you go? Who's the European champion at middleweight?
Oh, I was looking it up earlier and I saw it. I'll have to look it up, Ozzy, while you talk.
Yeah, I'm not too sure who's that. Oh, it's Vladimura who Saunders beat.
He's moved up as well then, has he?
No, sorry, at middleweight.
Oh, sorry, right, yeah.
Yeah. So Eubank could destroy him, absolutely destroy him. So you've got to look at somebody like, I don't want to see him with Spike O'Sullivan again. I've seen him call out for the rematch for that, O'Sullivan. It's difficult, really, because they just want somebody to stand in front of him. They need to try and get different styles, and they need to get proper sparring in. Like I said, the people who they get in that move around him, they send them home because they won't stand there and fight him.
What was the rankings you're looking at again there? Sorry, for the EBU title. What weight?
Middleweight. I think, is it Vladimura as the champion, or am I wrong there?
Middleweight title is apparently vacant. You got Martin Murray as #1 contender, and Ruben Diaz, he's the EU champ at middleweight. So the title's currently vacant. I think Vladimura might have vacated it.
Oh, yeah, he's boxing Murata, isn't he?
I need to check. 2 seconds.
Who is Vladimura?
Yes, yeah, in Japan.
All right, okay.
Yes, that's correct. He fought that Alessandro Goody in June last year, European title, vacated that, and Ozzy says he's fighting Murata on 15th of April.
Ozzy, talking to Langford, what about his fight with Armfield tonight? You fancied Armfield with the momentum. It wasn't a great fight. It wasn't the worst fight I've ever seen. What do you reckon?
Yeah, it was okay. I was talking to Matty Askin this morning, and I said I thought it could be boring at times, and it probably was. Fair play to Langford. I thought, me personally, I thought Armfield would have, like I said, he had the momentum. He had some decent wins behind him, and I thought Langford boxed the better throughout the fight. I thought the cards were more than fair. He's probably beat one of the better middleweights at British level there, Tommy Langford. It's a decent enough win. It's a defence of his belt, so it'd be interesting to see whether they try and step him up now, or because they tried to rush through that. There's a prime example. Langford had gone from boxing Sam Sheedy to Kurt Zidze, who was fringe world level, and he got iced. So there was an example from before. So he's gone back down to British level. He's got a decent win. Go and get a couple more and move up slowly. But what I do want to say is, can we just mention a quick say to Spencer Fearon, who I think predicted a round 9 KO for Eubank Jr.
Spencer X.
Loser.
Yeah, sure.
He's been retweeting all the bullshit that Eubank Senior's been like the Warrior Code. He's been retweeting and like getting on the hype train all week.
These pundits for Sky, they never get a prediction right, ever. They're absolute cowboys.
They ought to get me on there, Ozzy. I could do a job if that's the criteria.
Yes, Andy told me to blow my head off, but I picked Groves.
Yeah, but you said that fucking... What did you say again?
All I said was Callum Smith is not...
That's what it was. You said that fucking big spotty acne back was going to win fucking beat Groves.
No, I said he had a chance. I did not say he was going to win.
You said this fucking you only watched Smith twice in your life.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, but you've watched Groves more, but yeah, you think Smith's got a lot more about him to beat Groves?
No, a lot more. No, I just say I think he has a chance.
It's an easier fight. I think Smith's an easier fight than tonight's fight.
Exactly. Take out the Smith and Wesson, or take out the Dirty Harry gun, and just put it to your chin and pull the hammer.
This advocation of suicide will get you arrested in the UK these days.
Yeah, I know, but listen, after what's happening in America these days with all these shootings and stuff like that, it's just been another number, so.
Well, gun crime is actually down if you look at the statistics. Not to get off topic here.
Yeah, but you're white, so at least it'd be expected,
I'm not Jewish, though.
Right, the voice of Israel, Dave the Hater Lowback's on us. Danny Young's still with us. Goodness knows why Danny's still with us. I thought he would have disappeared by now with all the shit talking. Dominic's here, Andy and Ozzy. We're going to start wrapping up soon. Danny, tell me about the undercard. You were glued to your seat all the way through, riveting stuff.
Do you know what? The Walsh Lowe's fight's worth a mention. I I actually thought Isaac Lowe won it by a bit of a country mile, to be honest with you. I don't know what everyone else thought, but it was a good contested fight, but I definitely thought Lowe won it. And to be a draw, I thought it was a bit of a cop-out.
Anybody else, Ozzy? What about Lowe? I thought that Walsh just about nicked it. I think he's a good fighter at British title level. Did you have Walsh as well, Ozzy?
Yeah, by a round or so. But I thought it was very, very close. I was impressed by Isaac Lowe. It was a lot better than I thought he could produce. He was decent.
What about Valili? Did he still have a fight? Because he was supposed to fight Shafiq, was it? And he pulled out with an injury.
Who, sorry?
Valili, he was supposed to fight Shafiq, wasn't he? And Shafiq, was it Shafiq or Sharik?
Iqbal. Yeah, Iqbal got twisted his ankle, didn't he? Or something like that, so he couldn't fight, pulled out.
Yeah, Iqbal, sorry, that's the one, yeah. Did Valili still fight, Ozzy?
Yeah, he boxed Blaise Menduo.
Oh, right, okay. What else have we got? I'm going to finish up soon, I think. I'm starting to come down now, even though I'm not even drinking. Dominic, anything about the undercard? Any final comments from you about the main event?
No, I mean, I watched a few of the undercard fights. I wasn't really interested in them that much. Like, I sort of wasn't really paying attention to them. I was just more interested, really, in the main event because there was a lot in the line tonight. I think, we're going to find out one way or the other whether it was all hype, and it is all hype, really. That's the bottom line. He sort of ran into a wall of reality tonight, and as about the final against probably Smith will probably beat Bremer. It's not a foregone conclusion. He'd probably beat him, but if Groves gets, as long as he's not too badly injured, Smith will be eating the job all night. He'll be eating the straight right hand all night. A lot more so actually than Eubank was tonight. Smith is actually more tailor-made for Groves than Eubank, I think. But yeah, it was just they're talking about any sort of future opponents for Eubank. Before they think about who's going to fight now, they need to sort out. They just need to sort out, the way they do business, when training camp, whatever. They're not gonna. They have to understand that they're not going to achieve anything if they keep carrying on with this act that he's this uncontrollable stallion, that he doesn't need a trainer, that he can do it all himself, that he can rub his hands himself. It's just all his fundamentals are just non-existent. So I'm sort of caught between. Part of me is happy that the old man, the stuff he was saying about he's going to hurt. I'm worried about George. All this claptrap. It's he really has got what he deserves after coming out with all that stuff. And I've always been a Groves fan, so I'm happy for Groves. But it's what's that there?
Someone's laughing.
And he's got some laughter going on. Dominic, that's an excellent summation. We're going to be finishing up soon, so thanks for jumping on. You're welcome anytime.
Cheers,
Has anybody heard what, formerly Prince Hamed, now currently demoted to Fat Ringside Hobbit, has anyone heard what he said? Because apparently I'm seeing mixed reactions, but it's must watch.
Who's this?
Prince Hamed.
Nazim, what was he saying, Andy? Because I came on air before he came on.
I really don't know.
He was on one.
Same thing. Exactly. I didn't actually hear because we came on live at the same time, so I didn't really catch it. But I know for a fact Duke was shitting on that IBO title, big style.
Well, good for him.
Danny, any closing thoughts from you? Where do both combatants go from here? Groves, obviously, after a layoff, is going to fight Smith. Where does Eubank go, etc.?
Honestly, I don't know. He needs to really consider about what he's going to do. I like that shout from Ozzy. I'd like to see him fight. Who was it on the undercard earlier?
Tommy Langford.
Langford. Yeah, Langford. I'd like to see that. That wouldn't be too bad. I actually think that might be closer than what a lot of people. I don't think Tommy Langford's got the power, but yeah, I'd like to see that. But again, he needs to drop down and work his way up and get that respect. But I mean, Groves. I mean, while we've been on air, I don't know if you've seen. There's Kalle Sauerland's been talking about what the implications will be because of the Groves injury. I haven't heard what the outcome is, but
very confirmed taking over in the final. Once a bang in the door, man. I'm telling you, boys, he's coming in. He's going to take what's his.
Surely not. Surely not. But
Surely not,
yeah,
Danny. Surely not.
hopefully Groves gets himself sorted, and we see this. Well, as me and Andy quite know, we're going to be cheering Jurgen all the way next week. So who knows?
Yeah, baby.
Danny, I need you on next week to talk about these type of things. You love a bit of German action, don't you?
I do love a bit of German action, not just the porn, bit of boxing as well.
Yes.
Excellent stuff. Thanks for coming on, Danny. We'll catch you next week to talk Bramer Smith in the aftermath, okay?
How's Licky,
Yeah,
mate?
nice one, Fisty. Licky's good,
Danny.
mate. He's probably lying face down in a pub in Blackheath right now, but yeah, he's good.
Good stuff. Pass my
Danny, all the best.
Pass my
Cheers,
regards.
gents.
German losses have hairy gashes.
That's lovely, Dave. Right, Dave, tell me about this. A few people are saying Eubank should drop down to British title level. While I don't think that Tommy Langford would beat Eubank Jr., I think that maybe the bubble is starting to burst, as in guys will think, you know what, if I can withhold his attacks, if I can maybe get a bit of a game plan going, I could beat this guy. A bit of the mythos has been scraped away from Eubank Jr. a bit more tonight.
Yeah, Eubank is still talented and experienced enough. It's just like, I mean, he's still talented. I mean, he's got some wins that are even higher than British level. Despite, I'm not saying he's near where he needs to be, and I don't see very good prospects for his career. But I think that would be the best for him. I don't see him making the necessary adjustments, though, about like really digging deep and kind of rebuilding himself from the ground up as far as fundamentals and learning some very basic rules about boxing, which he apparently doesn't know, and is somehow still managed to avoid getting knocked out tonight.
He managed to avoid getting knocked out, Andy. The old chin is still intact, even though the blood was flowing. An L for Eubank Senior as well. He talks some shit, this guy. He tries to be all esoteric, doesn't he, Andy? You know, like when they ask him a question, he does this deliberate pause, and you lot can't possibly be on my kind of intellectual level. You can't understand what's going on here. You know what? He said that he had prepared his son too well before the fight. Well, he hadn't prepared him well enough.
Well, I'd actually hope that he prepared to actually pick him up off the canvas and rebuild him brick by brick, or bone by bone, I should say. But
bit of humility needed now, Andy.
Aye, it really does need to be. Listen, I think Tommy said that. I think we discussed it privately and stuff like that. There's a certain unhinged element amongst that fucking family, or Eubank Senior and Junior, psychopaths or something. There's just something right there. Maybe a fucking. There's something just no fucking right there. You know, they've got the full ball, but tonight you got to accept you haven't got it. I've said it for long enough. A lot of people have bought into the hype. You see me get involved in a lot of fucking scraps this week. I'm fucking sick of it. I'm just going to call it as it is. Eubank is shit. We've said it for long enough. He's basically trading off a name. Tonight he had no plan B. He was refusing to accept the advice. He is his own man. Well, you see what happens when you're your own man. Listen, at the end of the day is, we didn't get through life by fucking not taking advice. It just doesn't happen. Now, if you think you're that good, that arrogant, go ahead and do it. But I think it's you need to be absolutely special to do it. You need to be like Michael Jordan, Tom Brady-esque if you can be that arrogant, right? But you haven't got it, mate. Just chuck it. Just save us all the time. And as for Senior, going about the sheriff's badge on and all that sort of stuff, the whole family is just absolutely weird. As I said, as well as some of Eubank's defences, take Watson and Ben out of the equation. He has never fought anybody worth a fucking salt, worth a wank. Same with his son. Anytime he stepped up, he got beat. So tonight, we just drawing under that career, he is no good enough, super middleweight or middleweight. Just simply not good enough. And we've said it for long enough. The fundamentals of boxing are simple. That's why I was going about Alexis Arguello. So if you want to see a basic fighter who actually mastered the basics, Alexis Arguello, jab, right hand, left hook, the absolute master of doing it. Eubank hasn't got it. Just absolute wild windmill fucking. He's the middleweight, super middleweight fucking Deontay Wilder, windmill puncher, overrated, overhyped, and he is absolutely shit.
I think I could say the same for his dad's career as a boxer. Not shit, but definitely overrated and overhyped, lacking a lot of the basics, getting by on athleticism for quite a bit of it.
Talking of humility, I noticed Kenny Keith there just retweeted a tweet from Chris Eubank Jr. He's got back into the dressing room and he's tweeted out, "Was a hell of a fight and I'll be back in the ring ASAP. Congratulations to Groves. Hashtag next gen." That might be an appropriate hashtag, Andy, because he might end up on one of those shitty next gen shows.
Yeah, true, isn't it? The question is this, though, is you know how he was back in the gym after picking ice and yielded him in 4 or 5 rounds? He can be back in the gym tomorrow.
Well, Billy Joe Saunders has replied to that tweet, Andy. He said, "I need a man to clean my ball strap. A job for you, pal."
Well, it says, just watch Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat tomorrow. Is Eubank going to be back in the gym, punching the bag like 17,000 times in 2 minutes and skipping rope and stuff like that? Let's just wait to see these videos coming out and how quick they come out.
I'm eager to see this Prince Nazim Hamed thing. A lot of people are tweeting on it. There's a guy on Twitter, George Martin, at Martio42, who seems to be taking the little clips and putting them out in stages. I see part 4 has just come up now, so I'm going to go off and watch that and listen to Nazim in full meltdown mode, apparently.
Tell you the week is going to be a full compliment tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, hopefully so. Ozzy, final words from you?
Nothing much else to say, really. Excellent from Groves. Just hope the injury doesn't ruin the final. I hope they delay it rather than bringing somebody else in.
Well said, Ozzy. I think we shall leave it there. I have said my piece. I took an L with my prediction, but I'm more than happy to see Mr. George Groves beat Eubank, and hopefully the Eubanks will learn a bit of humility, which I doubt, and go back down, strip down to the basics, and make his son a better boxer. But certainly the big paydays, the pay-per-view paydays, and the shitty belts and whatever have to be put to one side now, and Eubank Jr. needs to rebuild from the bottom up. If you're listening on the YouTube chat now, go and hit the little thumbs up, because we have a lot of people coming and listening to the show that don't usually listen, and they don't quite like our opinions sometimes, so we get them all giving the thumbs down and saying we're shit. Give them a big fuck you and hit the thumbs up and tell them you like listening to the Boxing Asylum. At what time is it now, Andy? midnight on a Saturday evening. We're going to start watching the American stuff soon, which will be on tomorrow. We'll be talking a bit of Garcia against Rios. We've got Alexander Ortiz. We've got a couple of guests coming on, hopefully. At least one is confirmed at the moment. And we're going to be previewing the Jurgen Bremer, Callum Smith World Boxing Super Series semi-final to see who will face George Groves, hopefully not Vinny Feigenboots in the final. And also there's a bit of Superfly action as well, so plenty going on tomorrow night. Send your questions in, send your points of view, your comments, whatever, on Twitter, on Facebook. I've talked for long enough. Thank you to Ozzy. Thank you to Andy. Thank you to Hater Dave Lowback. What's your Twitter, Hater Dave? I always like to give a shout out to you.
Boxing Asylum Wide. That's because my old forum name was Wyavier. WHY. Boxing Asylum Y.
Boxing Asylum Y for some interesting boxing chat with Hater Dave. Will Andre Ward come back to super middleweight? That's the question they're all asking out there tonight. Also, thanks to Dominic Henry, to Danny Young, to Rob Barnett. Kurt Ward didn't join us, unfortunately. No Guru. We were expecting him to jump on.
He was ashamed because he picked Eubank to win the tournament.
Exactly. He shot the bed.
He's as bad as me. Adam Smith was on as well. And Rob Kelly will be back tomorrow to give his view on the fight once he's watched it. Thank you very much to everybody for listening. Any final comments, Andy, or is that we all done?
We're finished, mate.
We're done. See you tomorrow, guys. All the best. 8 o'clock. Bye.